Welcome to Cognito Key, where we unlock the science behind everyday wonders. Today, we're looking at something that feels like pure magic, how a simple, ancient crystal can turn muddy, murky water crystal clear. Yep, we're unlocking the science of alum, or as many of us know it, Fitkari.
So you've got to wonder, how does it really work? How can this one little super inexpensive crystal take cloudy water and make it completely clear? This is so much more than a neat party trick. It's a really important, low-cost technology that's used all over the world. So let's dive into the science behind this amazing transformation.
Okay, but first things first. To really get how amazing the solution is, we have to understand the problem. What is it about muddy water that makes it so, well, muddy and stubborn?
Well, it all comes down to electricity. You see, in that murky water, there are millions of tiny particles of clay and silt. And here's the key. They all have the same negative charge. So, just like when you try to push two magnets together the wrong way, these particles are constantly pushing each other apart. They never get a chance to settle down, and that's what keeps the water looking so cloudy. Scientists call this a colloidal solution.
And now, let's bring in our hero, alum, or Fitkari. Now this isn't some high-tech, new discovery. Oh no, this is a simple, easy-to-find compound that people have been using for literally centuries to solve this exact problem. It's been a game-changer for so many communities that need access to clean water.
So what exactly is alum? Well, the fancy term is a hydrated double salt, which I know sounds a bit complicated, but its job is actually super simple. It's what we call a powerful flocculant. And all that means is that it's brilliant at making tiny particles clump together. The kind we usually use for cleaning water is potash alum, which is a double sulfate of aluminum and potassium. And if you look at its properties, you can see why it works so well. It's a solid, comes in these white, colorless crystals, it has a very particular astringent taste, and it's partially soluble in water. It's this exact mix of features that makes it just perfect for water treatment.
All right, so we've got the problem and we've got our hero. So what's the secret? What is Fitkari's power? Well, the magic, as it turns out, is all about the chemistry. Let's break down how this process of coagulation and flocculation actually works.
It all starts with step 1, neutralization. Remember how all those little dirt particles were negatively charged and pushing each other away? Well, when you add alum to the water, it releases a whole bunch of positively charged particles. And these positive charges completely cancel out the negative charges on the dirt. It's kind of like turning off all those tiny little magnets at once. Suddenly, there's nothing pushing them apart anymore.
And that brings us to step 2, coagulation. As soon as those repulsive forces are gone, a much weaker but always present natural attraction takes over. It's called van der Waals forces. And this gentle pull is just enough to make the now neutral particles drift towards each other and start sticking together. This is where the clumping process really begins. Next up is flocculation. You can think of this like a snowball effect. Those small clumps from the last step keep bumping into each other and merging, growing bigger and heavier. These visible clumps are what we call floc, and they're basically little impurity magnets, collecting more and more gunk as they drift through the water. And for the final act in this chemical magic show, sedimentation. Once a piece of floc gets big and heavy enough, it just can't float anymore. Gravity takes over and it sinks right to the bottom, dragging all those impurities down with it and leaving that beautifully clear water at the top. The science is pretty cool, right? But how do you actually do this yourself? Well, let's get practical. Here is a simple 6-step guide to take you all the way from murky water to safe water. The whole process is really straightforward. You start by collecting your water, maybe filter it through a cloth to get rid of any big bits like leaves or twigs. Then you add the alum and give it a good stir to get that reaction going. Now the key here is patience. You have to leave it completely still and let the floc do its thing and settle. Once that's done, you carefully pour the clear water off the top. But you are not done yet. The next step is absolutely crucial for safety. And this is so important to remember. Alum makes water clear, but it does not make it sterile. You still have to disinfect it to kill any harmful germs. You've got a couple of options, like chlorine, but honestly, boiling is the safest and best method. It kills all the nasty bacteria, viruses, and protozoa, and it has no side effects. Just get the water to a rolling boil and keep it there for at least 1 minute, and you'll know it's safe to drink. But wait, this story doesn't end there. Alum is a multi-talented crystal. Its usefulness goes way beyond just getting rid of mud. I mean, just look at this list of superpowers. On top of clarifying, alum also helps to soften hard water. And on a much bigger scale, it's used to improve the health of entire lakes. By reducing the amount of phosphorus in the water, it helps control those big, nasty algal blooms that can really harm the ecosystem. It's pretty amazing. You know, this quote just sums it up perfectly. What you should really take away from this is just how powerful and accessible this simple material really is. It's a perfect example of ancient wisdom backed up by modern chemistry, making a real, tangible difference in the world.
Which really leaves us with a final thought. What other bits of ancient science are hiding in plain sight, maybe even in your own home, just waiting for us to rediscover them? If you enjoyed unlocking this piece of knowledge with us, please help us unlock more by liking this explainer, sharing it with someone you think would be curious, and of course, subscribing to Cognito Key. Thanks for watching.